Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 69th part of What If Deku Was a Magical Girl Mascot, Quirk, Magical Girl Mascot. The author of this great fan fic is Emma. I believe links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 69, Instant Rescue. Izuku spent a good part of the night trying to figure out the teleportation. He was trying to figure it out, but he did feel his nearby partners, but he couldn't find Eri. He still felt connected, maybe he just wasn't in the right mindset. Before going to bed, Izuku did have a mental conversation including Eri. They held her through the pain and Toshinori told her some stories about his time as hero. The next morning Izuku was nervous as he headed to Sir Nightie's agency. All he knew was there was some sort of meeting about Eri. Though he couldn't help but to wonder what happened during breakfast. Aizawa showed up asking to talk to Katsuki, Toru, Tenya, and Shoto. "Good luck with the meeting," said Toru. Izuku nodded. He got ready and left the dorms. "Hey! Midoriya!" called out Kirishima. "Hey Kirishima, going to work studies?" asked Izuku. "Oh yeah. It's some kind of meeting so I don't have to bring my costume," said Kirishima. "Same actually," said Izuku. "Deku! You're headed to the train station too?" asked Achiko, who was with Tsuyu. "I am," said Izuku. Achiko nodded and smiled. Izuku knew what that smile was. He turned into his mascot form for the walk there and Achiko carried him. It allowed Achiko to hold him and carry him. They got to the station where Izuku turned back and learned they were taking the same train. Izuku turned back when they got to gates for many reasons. While waiting for the train, Izuku got an idea. Achiko! What station are you getting off?" asked Izuku. Achiko told him and it was the same station. Achiko realized why he asked. "You want to try?" asked Achiko. "Just see if I can figure it, the train ride takes an hour," said Izuku. Achiko nodded. When they got on the train, Izuku once again turned back into his mascot form and sat on her lap. "I guess this is the couples thing you guys are doing," laughed Kirishima. "This is something else," said Achiko. Izuku closed his eyes. He realized maybe if he was away from UA where most of his partners were, he could figure out the teleportation better. He closed his eyes and sensed the lights of partners. He felt the lights of Achiko and Tsuyu right by him. He felt the lights of Inko, Toshinori, and Melissa growing further away. He also felt the lights of Katsuki, Shoto, Tenya, and Toru in a weird parallel route not far away but also at distance. He decided not to worry about that now. That was when he found Eri, and he felt it. He could bring the lights to him, and anyone he could choose. He stopped before he could do it through. "I figured it out," cried Izuku. "You did," said Achiko. "I did," cried Izuku. Achiko hugged Izuku. Kirishima was confused because of how much he was out of the loop. "He figured out how to stop his fainting spells," said Tsuyu. Kirishima nodded, figuring they wouldn't give them all of the information. After a while they got off the train. They learned they were all headed in the same direction and soon got to Sir Nightie's agency, where the big three were outside of. "Hey you guys," said Togata. "Hey," said Izuku. Togata saw the look on Izuku's face. It was mix of emotions. He figured that it had to with Eri. "It's going to be fine," said Izuku. Togata nodded. They entered the agency, to find many heroes there, including Aizawa and Gran Torino of all people. But was more surprising was that Katsuki, Tenya, Shoto, and Toru were there. "What?" said Izuku. "We got dragged into the case," said Katsuki. "Sir Nightie let me in on the case and asked for them to be let in too, and he said it probably had to with your fainting spells," said Aizawa. "Oh. I can fix it later," said Izuku. "Wait, if part of the case?" said Tsuyu, realizing. Izuku activated his telepathy to all of the partners that were there. No murder. He scolded them. Come on. The bastard deserves it. Thought Katsuki with her eye twitching. I get it. Thought Izuku, but we're trying to be heroes. Looks like you're doing better. Said Gran Torino. Well, as better as I can be. Said Izuku. Gran Torino could tell Izuku was hiding something but shrugged it off. That was when Sir Night-Eye came into the room. Thanks to the intel you all provided, we're making great strides in the investigation. Said Sir Night-Eye, the small organization known as the Shy Hasaikai is plotting something. This meeting is share exactly what we know. Though Kirishima not being in the loops was confused, the rest of Wana's students were ready for this. They all went into the meeting room, where Bubble Girl and Sir Night-Eye's other sidekick Centipeder, a man with a quirk that made him very a centipede human, explains their investigation. About how they met up with other people. And how the League of Villains might be involved. That twice had met up with them. So that's why you called me and Tsukachi. Said Gran Torino. Where is anyway? Asked a hero next to him. Following more eyewitness. Said Gran Torino. He looked at Izuku. Kid, you better hope you're not dragged not some nasty bones. Said Gran Torino. It's fine. Said Izuku, I don't think this mission can get any worse. Friend of yours? Asked Togata. He's the hero that helped All Might in the Kamino battle. Said Izuku. Togata nodded, no remembering the fight. Continue. Said Sir Night-Eye. So given these developments we reached out to heroes via the HN. Said Bubble Girl. HN? Asked Ochako. Hero Network. It's an online service for pro heroes. You can check in with other heroes and even put in requests for heroes whose quirks might useful for whatever you're working on. Explained Hato. UA students or not. These kids are just going to slow us down. The sun's going to be going down before we get to know what's going. Said a hero sitting next to Izuku named Rocklock. Baloney. Yelled the hero named Fat Gum, a very large and fan man that was the hero Kirishima and Amajiki were doing work studies with, these two as super important participants. What? Us? Asked Kirishima shocked. Also I should point that Midoriya and his partners have discovered the worst crime that they have committed, said Sir Night-Eye, but I believe Fat Gum should explosion his role in this. Thank you. Said Fat Gum, and I'm seeing plenty of new face here. Pleased to meet you. I'm Fat Gum. He's so round and cute. Said Ochako, Tsuyu and Toru at the same time. Fat Gum explained what he had discovered, as during an incident a few nights ago that Amajiki was shot with a drug unlike any other. It's a drug that destroys quirks. Explained Fat Gum very angrily. Everyone was shocked. Tamaki. Are you okay? Asked Mirio. Yeah, I'm back to normal. Said Amajiki. He turned his arm into a cow hoof. His quirk allowed him to transform his body parts into things that he ate recently, as you can see with his cow hoof. I can tell what you for breakfast. Said Togata. So he revered, so that thing must not be fatal. Said Rocklock. No, on that point I turn to Eraserhead. Said Sir Night-Eye. Aizawa nodded and explained how his quirk worked, but stopping a thing known as the quirk factor while the drug damaged it instead. Did they analyze what he was shot with? Asked one of the heroes. IT didn't do anything else to Tamaki's body. The ganger in question clammed up and the gun was destroyed. It all looked like he had one empty round, said Fat Gum. However, since one bounced right off Kirishima's body, we got our hands on a vial of the stuff intact. Me seriously, I didn't expect that. Yelled Kirishima. Way to go, Kirishima. Cheered Ochako. Very cool. Said Tsuyu. I keep telling your quirk is useful shitty hair. Said Katsuki with a sly smirk. Kirishima looked at the smirk and started to blush. Is there something going on between them? asked Hato her fellow work-study students. Katsuki is at Sundara to Kirishima. Explained Suyu, it's better to let them work it out for themselves. Hato nodded. Fat Gum became even more serious, however. Analysis of substance inside revealed something very disturbing. Said Fat Gum, it contained human blood in cells. When Izuku and his partners here, they knew immediately whose blood and cells made the bullets. Toru suddenly got up and ran to a nearby trash can and vomited. That bastard! Growled Katsuki with her palms exploding. Shoto started to also partially ice and flare up. Izuku was shaking while Achiko was trying not to cry. Suyu and Tenya both looked downright murderous. Please calm down. Saeed Sir Night-Eye, I completely understand why you're so upset, especially after what you all learned last night. Remain calm for the rest of the meeting, then you can use my agency's gym. I won't blame you for any damage any of my equipment. Aizawa looked at his students, very worried. After all, he wasn't in the loop. Shoto managed to get her quirk under control, as did Katsuki, but it was clear everyone was upset. One of the other heroes asked about how they can be sure Shai Hasaikai. Fat Gum explained that they found through the network, but also an incident involving two villains with gigantism quirks fighting with one of them using a quirk booster. Sir Night-Eye had the evidence. Their leader is a man named Shisaki, whose quirk is Overhaul, the ability to both dissemble and restore, a quirk that can destroy and then heal. He has found someone with a quirk that can somehow destroy quirks. Midoriya, do you think you can explain what you have found? Said Sir Night-Eye. Izuku shook, knowing they had to tell them. I had a run-in with Chisaki and a little girl named Eri who was with him. She was so scared and clearly hurt that my quirk activated and I accidentally bonded with her. She went back with him, but due to our bond, me and partners were able to figure out what was going on. He told us she was his daughter, but it was lie. Not only that, but after I bonded I started to get strange fainting spells. I didn't know what caused them, but I had a feeling like something broke inside of me, and my partners had a feeling that something very terrible had happened. Yesterday we realized what was going on. Said Izuku. He turned to his animal form and pointed to his forehead. If you notice, my gem changes colors, each color corresponds to one of my partners. White is Eri's color, and they noticed after I had passed out her color disappeared. Everyone quickly realized what that meant, for the color to be gone. Izuku turned back to normal. He killed and reviving her, and what's worse is that few days ago he started to doing 3 times as many. Said Izuku, who was clearly not trying to cry. He took advantage of using quirk. Whenever I make a new bond, one heal any injury they had, whether old or new. And when he revived her, my quirk's healing ability activated, so he started to kill her in rows of 3, and I know it's to harvest blood and cells. Everyone was quiet at this as they realized. I do have good news. Said Izuku, on the way here I was able to figure out my teleportation ability. If she's alone, I will be able to rescue her as soon as I can. Do it now! Yelled Fat Gum. No kidding. You can cripple them right now. Said Rocklock. Midoriya, do it now. Said Sir Night-Eye, unless she's with someone. Izuku nodded, knowing it was better to rescue her sooner rather than later, and activated his telepathy right away, but to Eri only. Eri was laying on her bed, dreading for the next time they did it. Eri? Asked Izuku, are you alone? I'm alone. Thought Eri, why? I found a way to get you out of there. Said Izuku. Really? Asked Eri. Yeah, it will take a few seconds, but don't worry. Thought Izuku. Back at the agency, Izuku turned back to mascot form, stepped away from the table to give the teleportation some room, and his gem started to glow. In Eri's room, she decided to get up when her necklace started to glow and flash of white light. She disappeared. Back in the agency, there was a bright flash of light and Eri appeared from the light. She was very confused. But then she saw Izuku, who turned back human. Izuku? She asked. Yeah, it's me. He said. She ran towards him and immediately hugged him as tightly as she could. Don't worry, Eri. You're safe. I will make sure he will never hurt you again, said Eri. Eri started to cry. Of course the other partners got up to meet Eri in person. Hey brat, said Katsuki. Eri looked up and she quickly recognized the voice. Kaken? She asked, having picked up the nickname. She's not the only one here, said Ochako. That right, said Tsuyu. Ochako. Tsu, cheered Eri. I'm here too, said Toru. Eri nodded, remembering they told her that Toru couldn't be seen and was invisible unless she was magical girl. Toru, she cheered. We're here too, said Shoto. Remember what we told you about our voices, said Tenya. Eri looked at them and then realized. Shoto and Tenya, said Eri. Only Mom, All Might and Melissa aren't here, said Izuku. But if they would be here, said Tenya. Eri nodded, happy that her friends were there, and she knew she was far away from Chisaki. She hugged Izuku even more and cried even more. Ochako joined the hug, followed by the others, and Eri felt warm and safe from the hug. Gran Torino looked at Rocklock, remembering how he complained earlier about the younger students slowing things down. Rocklock noticed the look. I'm not even mad, said Rocklock. If anything, this meeting was slowing down the girl. They let Eri calm down little before counting. Do you have to take her out the room? Said Sir Night-Eye. No, I think it's fine, said Izuku, still holding on to Eri. It was clear to everyone she was asleep in his arms. If it gets too loud, I'll leave the room, but I think I can continue, said Izuku. Sir Night-Eye nodded. Try to keep calm from what we're learning, said Sir Night-Eye. Also please try to keep any squeeing over how cute this is to yourselves. He knows what squeeing is? Asked one hero. Gran Torino chuckled. You have no idea, said Gran Torino. All right. We might have taken away the source, but from what Midoriya said, he took more than usual the last few days. Not to mention we don't know if he has a replicate her blood via other means, said Sir Night-Eye. Just because she's secure doesn't mean they're not going to stop causing problems. The other heroes agreed. They discussed some plans to figure out the locations of the bases. As the discussions counted, Aizawa brought up something. There's something I don't get about your quirk, said Aizawa. Why don't you just see what sort of fate awaits us? I can't, sighed Sir Night-Eye. He talked about limitations, how he can only use his quirk once in a 24 hours period. Not only that, but he could only get glimpses as if he was watching a film strip of the person's life, and he couldn't see beyond a certain area around them. Isn't that enough? Asked Aizawa. You can probably find out more around them. It's not just that. Until recently I thought my visions were set in stone, that nothing could change them. But something happened recently that showed me that fate can be changed, said Sir Night-Eye. Even if I predict that something terrible could happen, I believe that the fate might be changed. Is this person you're talking about Midoriya? Asked Aizawa with eye twitching. Sir Night-Eye sighed. Yes. He decided to answer. Aizawa slammed his head on the table. Everyone stared. I'm Midoriya's homeroom teachers, and I'm sorry, it's just that his quirk, said Aizawa, who seemed to be on the verge of a mental breakdown. Yeah, Deku's quirk just keep getting more and more broken, said Katsuki. Kakun, sighed Izuku. I don't know, it's really part of his quirk to change fate either, though a part of his quirk, or if it's because it runs on magical girl logic, or if it was just me stuck in an old mindset that thinks that I can't change what I predict. There is a very good chance that my prediction won't come true if I see something big, explained Sir Night-Eye. Everyone was quiet after he said that. However, if things look bad, I have an idea on how to handle it, said Sir Night-Eye. It's a plan if things are looking exceptionally bleak. Though I need to talk to 2 people about it before I could use it. Wouldn't it be funny if that plan is to get Midoriya to summon All Might? Asked Kirishima. There was an awkward silence coming from Sir Night-Eye. "Oh my god, his plan is to summon All Might," said one of the other heroes. "If All Might agrees to it, then I'm okay with it," said Izuku. Sir Night-Eye nodded. "Are there any more questions?" asked Sir Night-Eye. "Is she going to go anywhere safe?" asked Rocklock. "Yes, someone who knew about her already asked about becoming her guardian. And she has help from a powerful source helping them with paperwork and what laws to use," said Sir Night-Eye. Izuku was worried but then saw Sir Night-Eye gave him a look that said it was going to be okay and realized who the person was. "Thank you all for helping me," said Sir Night-Eye. "I'll be passing out the files to every one of you," said Bubble Girl. "I'll take Midoriya's since his arms are full," said Togata. As everyone was winding down, one of the heroes decided to do the nice thing and clean out the garbage can that Toru vomited it. He then reacted in horror. "I smell it. But I see nothing," the hero yelled in shock. All of them looked at Toru. "Yeah, my vomit is invisible," said Toru. "I get it," said Izuku and Achiko at the same time. They were at a table in the lobby. Tight Togata was taking it somewhat hard. "If I didn't let her go, then she wouldn't have suffered so much," said Togata. "She's safe now and that's all that matters," said Izuku as Eri was still sleeping. "I can't believe she's still asleep," whispered Kirishima. "I wouldn't be surprised if she could barely sleep when she was with that bastard," muttered Katsuki. "She's probably feeling the safest she's felt in years," said Shoto. "She's allowing herself to finally get some rest," said Tenya. Everyone nodded. That was when Aizawa entered the room. "We're waiting for a couple more cars," said Aizawa. "Also UA is sending some over to discuss about Eri." Izuku nodded. "Should we worried about someone taking her away?" asked Hato. "No, there's only two other adults who know about Eri and both of them have ties to someone powerful that would help them with paperwork like this," said Izuku. The others realized what he meant when he put it like that. "I was considering ending work studies since the League of Villains is involved, but after I heard about how much you're all involved," sighed Aizawa, "I was questioning why he requested your four to join, but I understand now. He let us in the investigation so that we can help Eri," said Shoto. "We barely had anything to do, to be honest," said Toru. "Eri told me he was hurting her and that he lied about being her father right away," said Izuku. Aizawa nodded. "I probably would have asked Nizu to veto you," said Inko. Once again her hair was messy and Melissa was with her, though her hair was less messy than Inko's. Tashinori was also there, but she looked pristine. "Whoa! What's with your hair?" said Kirishima. "I made the call about cars less than 10 minutes ago," muttered Aizawa. "They took the All Might Express," said Izuku. "That's right," laughed Tashinori. Mirai wanted to talk to me about something upstairs." They all nodded, knowing what it was about. "So this is Eri," said Melissa. "It is," said Izuku. Inko bent down and touched Eri's hair. "When I heard what her mother said about her, I knew what I had to do. I called Sir Night-Eye the next day and Nizu found out what I was doing," said Inko. "Thankfully there are some laws about bonding quirks and guardianship he was able to find. So that no matter how dangerous her quirk might be, I would be first in line for be guardian." "Really?" asked Izuku. "Oh yeah. Since you're still a minor and I'm your mother and part of the bond," said Inko. Everyone was happy with that. Upstairs Tashinori was talking with Sir Night-Eye. "I see," said Tashinori. "We don't know how bad things could go," said Sir Night-Eye. "Honestly, I want a piece of him," muttered Tashinori. "He killed that sweet child multiple times, and I felt it." Sir Night-Eye nodded. He was normally against his former partner running in mindlessly, but this was one. Planned and two honestly was almost as angry with Chisaki for doing something so horrible. Also we need to make sure some of Izuku's partners don't try to murder him, said Toshinori. Sir Night-Eye chuckled thinking it was joke. Then he saw the look on Toshinori's face. Oh, you're not joking, said Sir Night-Eye. Young Tsu has a little sister around Eri's age. Young Katsuki has a very explosive personally, and well, I'd say more about young Tenya, but I really shouldn't. Sir Night-Eye looked at All Might, getting the feeling this wasn't the first time Tenya wanted to murder someone. I wouldn't be surprised if Shoto joined the I want to murder him either, sighed Toshinori. Should we talk to Eraserhead about this? Said Sir Night-Eye. Also tell Ryukyu, said Toshinori, since she is the one watching over Tsu. Sir Night-Eye nodded. Downstairs Eri started to wake up. You're awake, said Izuku. Look who's here. Hi Eri, said Melissa. Are feeling well, said Inko. Inko. Melissa, cheered Eri. Both smiled. Eri, you're going to come with me. I have an apartment at UA to keep me safe, said Inko. It was indeed true that Inko was given an apartment at UA to keep her safe just in case, though they kept the apartment they lived in for years just in case. Really? Asked Eri, happy to know she would be going with Inko. She looked at the others. Don't worry, we'll be very close by, said Izuku. That's right. You can see us anytime, we're not busy, said Ochako. Eri smiled, she was also shocked. Eri was then shocked. Eri, what's wrong? Asked Izuku. I thought I forgot how to smile, said Eri, but I remembered. Shoto grimaced, as if that was what threw her over the edge. Shoto, no, said Izuku, realizing what the grimace means. You can't stop him, he's joining us, said Katsuki. Stop it, said Izuku. We shouldn't joke about that, said Tenya. Inko sighed, knowing they had to change the subject. Oh, I should see if there's any stores nearby, said Melissa, picking up what Inko needed, since the cars won't be here for a while. Oh yeah. I was saying that before you came in, said Hato. Eri needs clothes, said Inko, and some toys. Perhaps I should run over to Might Tower and get her some toys as well, said Toshinori, joining them. Eri was confused, then realized. Uncle Might. She cheered. Much like with Kakin, she picked up a nickname. That's right. I am here, said All Might. Okay. Who wants to go shopping? Asked Inko. Thought Izuku and Eri have to stay here. Oh. I want to go, said Hato. Can I go please? I'll go too. Toru. I'm going to stay behind, said Ochako. Same, said Katsuki, no in the mood to go shopping. The others who wanted to go shopping would need going shopping. It would be a while until the raid happened. Until then their goal was make sure Eri could heal from her experiences. After all, she needed it, and she only just now got her smile back. But she needed more healing as well, and matter what, they would provide the love she needed to heal. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 70. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.